It's a fascinating neighborhood. There are beautiful houses here, beautiful old houses you can't find anyplace else. The neighborhood is diverse and eclectic and exciting and historic. It's an exciting place to be every day. That said, yeah, there's a lot of vomit and urine and condoms and garbage and beer cans and Solo cups on the streets. In the early 90s, the federal government, the FBI, in association with Columbus Police, in association with the state of Ohio, conducted investigations, raids, and arrests here that broke the back of the Short North Posse, which was a crime syndicate that controlled this neighborhood from the 80s until that period. And in 1995, down there at the old Weinland Park University, United States Attorney General Janet Reno from the Clinton administration held a presentation in which she presented the arrest and announced the government's commitment to clean up the neighborhood, to break the cycle of drug violence here, and to stop the gangs.
It's interesting, right? Because the narrative around violence, at least as y'all present it in a period, is gang violence is like the central piece of crime. But for me, the most fear or like time I needed to feel protected or when I feel like a crime has been committed is students across campus, the students that live in this neighborhood. We used to do sticker bomb parties. And so kids had tons of stickers and they'd go around campus and put up stickers everywhere. We would do hot cards. And so people who were interested in not just the voting piece, but what to do after the vote happens or what to do after, we would pass out hot cards, give people's information. We did that for a few days, and these are junior high school kids. This is like a couple days, the day before the election. And when we were on campus, I mean, they were taunting the kids, cussing at them, kid you not, like very aggressive, like they were gonna cause physical harm. When we were around here, we asked them, can you pick up your trash? All the littering, I mean, it's just tremendous littering around here, which is a crime. It's filthy, And we would ask college students to, after you have your party and you got, 100, cans of beer outside, kids live here. And sometimes they'll be receptive and sometimes they'll just be, kind of like, fuck you. People of color have fear of white folks and white folks have fear of non-white people, and particularly in the Weinland Park communities and areas, right? I feel like that always, and I think I take that back. I don't always feel like that. That's not true. I can see how people feel like that.
They want to anchor the eastern frontier of the university with a safe, orderly neighborhood that parents aren't afraid to let their children live in, that people coming to football games or to the University Medical Center aren't afraid to drive through. And so by and large, I think their influence has been positive, but policies always have unintended consequences. One of the ways Weinland Park and other inner city neighborhoods got into the desperate situation they were in the mid to late 20th century has to do with policies of redlining, which were racist policies that denied investment and loans to inner city neighborhoods. And as such, people there couldn't get the money they needed to keep up properties, to buy and develop properties, so properties deteriorated. Also, they painted a big bullseye on neighborhoods for public nuisances and inconveniences. Again, talking about Milo Grogan. Milo Grogan was a poor, predominantly African-American neighborhood. It was redlined, and so they put the interstate highway through it.
Yeah, redlining is a practice of white supremacy that extends from chattel slavery in this country. It's a continuum, and redlining was another way to create have and have-nots. And what they would do with redlining, literally, right, these are city officials, right, who are marking to say what people, where they're gonna live. And if you actually put up in the Kerwin Institute, they have a great piece on this where they're showing you like segregated community based on redlining from like 1940 and putting that overlap in that map of some of the most poorest communities today. They overlapped the map of like 2000 and I think the map was done in 2012, and it's almost like exactly the same. We call it, well, I wouldn't say we, but a group of people and like whatever, they call it cross-class. But yes, economic diversity. No, that hardly ever happens. A friend of mine, she doesn't live in Weinland Park, but this happens all the time. A friend of mine's, she's renting, her husband and her kids, they're renting a space, renting a home. And this is on the near east side. And they were in talks of buying the property, right, from the landlord and the owner. But before they had an opportunity to finalize the deal, they got a note on their door saying they got to be out by December because the house was sold to somebody else instead.
The university has done what it can to try to be, this is the university at work right here, the Family Center. The university has put lots of money through Campus Partners into eliminating nuisances.
They're still building, all the time around here. But all of that is part of the fact that we're here on OSU. So I would assume that a lot of these people eventually will be pushed out. And like I said, a lot of families already have changed. They move closer towards not this area. This area is dominated by students, right? Student housing. But when you start going further down, like Summit and Fourth, you'll start to see more families that have been here for a little bit longer.
Like, do you believe they're getting pushed out?
A lot of black people are getting pushed out.
A lot of black people?
Out of the neighborhood, out of the hood. To keep it 100.